Hey guys, this is Josh at Motobox, and I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit more about the Motobox Racing Exhaust Modification Service for the Aprilia RS and Tuono 660. So we've gotten a lot of questions over the last few weeks. It's gained a lot of interest online, and people are asking a few questions that I would like to address. So I'm going to go down my list, tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about shipping costs, Sport and Sport Plus option dyno and tune results, race exhaust updates, dB levels, Upmap and exhaust packages. Sorry, there's a fly in here. And who is this for? And what are the benefits of this exhaust system? So I'll go ahead and start. Shipping. Shipping, you're looking at anywhere between $50 to $150 costs. $150 would be international, and $50 and up depending on where you are in the US. So I'll give you an example. If you're shipping from Oregon to California, you're probably looking on the lower end of that cost, maybe even less than $50. If you're shipping from California to New York or New York to California, right, you're probably looking at somewhere between 50 to 60, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Now, what affects the pricing? UPS inflation. UPS fluctuates their prices on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes it's a few dollars off, sometimes it's more than a few dollars off. But that's the greatest factor, as well as your location. So if you're in New York, it's obviously going to be more expensive than shipping from Oregon to California or from California to Oregon. It would definitely be more expensive shipping to New York, right? So keep that in mind. Location and UPS's inflation rate is going to be the most contributing factor to change in shipping costs. So if you go to order and shipping cost doesn't match what I'm saying right now, keep in mind that it probably fluctuated a little bit. So next we have Sport and Sport Plus dyno and tune results. So Sport, what do you gain with the Sport option? So the Sport option was never intended to be a high performance exhaust system modification. This was strictly for sound. We wanted more rumble. We wanted a throatier sound when hitting the accelerator. We just wanted that overall little bit of a fuller sound, more of a rumble, right? So that's going to be the main benefit of the Sport option. You're not really looking at anything too different from stock. You're looking at similar to stock throttle response, similar to stock horsepower and torque. So you're not looking at too much of a change there. Moving on to the Sport Plus, when you go into the Sport Plus, you're looking at a 1.5 to 2 horsepower increase just from installing the exhaust alone. This is a linear power increase from bottom end to top end, increases horsepower and increases torque. So this is without a map. No tune, you have linear power. Now, if you decide to go with a tune, you can do that, and you'll be looking at a nicer throttle response. It'll feel a lot better as you twist the throttle, way smoother, especially if you're on individual mode on the bike. You'll also be looking at a little bit more power squeezed out of the performance aspect of it. So those are the big things as far as dyno and tunes. So definitely, if you're looking for performance gains and you don't mind spending the little bit extra that it costs to get the Sport Plus is the way to go. Both of those systems are catted and do provide back pressure, so it keeps the air to fuel ratios really safe if you're not running a map, but you can run a map for extra benefits. And like I said, you're looking at a 1.5 to 2 horsepower gain as well as torque with the Sport Plus. And please excuse the phone in the office. All right, what are we looking at with the race exhaust? The race exhaust has been put on hold as far as a release date for sales. We're still working on development, and we're still taking it to the dyno, we're still running it and getting everything set up for sales. But as of now, because we're trying to address a few legalities, we want to make sure we do everything right. We don't want to do anything that's going to be trouble for anybody. So we're just taking our time to address these steps and do it the right way. Now, the race exhaust, we saw similar results as the Sport Plus. The only difference was with the race exhaust, we did need a tune. So if you're trying to compare, is it better to run catless versus catted with a Sport Plus? There's really not a huge benefit to run the race exhaust as of now, but we're still going to run the new map on the dyno and see what we're looking at. The sound is different though. The race exhaust does sound bassier, throatier, deeper, and fuller. The Sport Plus sounds a little bit higher pitched, the frequency's a little higher, hurts your ears a little bit more, but they're both similar in sound levels. All right, so keep that in mind, and I apologize for that. I know a lot of you guys were asking about the race exhaust, but we just want to make sure we do everything right, not get anybody in trouble, and provide you guys a proper option for purchasing. So race exhaust is undetermined release date. Keep that in mind if you're thinking about it. All right, next up we have dB levels. What are you looking at as far as decibel measurement with these exhaust systems? I'll tell you what, I don't have measurements for the Sport Plus or the Sport version yet, which I will get next week. But with the race version, I measured 96 decibels at idle and 125 decibels at 9,000 RPMs. So it's pretty loud. And like I said, I will address the Sport Plus and Sport versions. Just keep checking back on the website over the next few days and weeks, all right? I'll add more information as I can. Thank you guys for your patience. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about that. So next, Upmaps and exhaust packages. Will we be selling the Upmaps? Yes, we're gonna have Upmaps available on our website. You guys will be able to order the Upmap and download the Motobox specific tunes on the Upmap store in your app, and you'll also be able to buy an exhaust and Upmap package, so there'll be a little bit of savings for you guys there. And lastly, who is this exhaust for and what are the benefits? Some people have asked why we did this, right? Why not just buy a SC Project? Why not buy a Krapovich? Well, those are all great exhausts. I have nothing against them. I love them, right? I come from a background of a lot of track racing and obviously looking for the best performance gains I could get. I was running an RSV4 at the track before. You guys can see behind me I have a RSV 1000R factory. That's got a Leo Vance exhaust, Leo Vance. I'm pretty sure I just killed that name, but you guys get it, right? I've got Power Commander on it, there's tunes, so I understand. I understand the need for a truly performance enhancing big brand, tons of history behind the name exhaust system. With that said, personally, when I was looking around for exhaust systems for my RS660, I wasn't satisfied with the gap that an aftermarket pipe was leaving underneath the body. Right, this bike was made to have an underbody exhaust, so removing that would leave a huge gap behind the belly pan. So I didn't like that aesthetically. So I just started experimenting with different methods to see what I could do. So that led to these modification services. Who is this for? It's for those of us who do not want to spend $2,000, $3,000 on an exhaust system. It's for those of us who want to keep underbody aesthetics of the original exhaust setup. And it's for those of us who maybe with the sport version, for example, just want some sound. You just want more sound out of your bike. You don't want to mess with tunes. You don't want to mess with upmaps. You just want more sound. So this is the perfect option, right? You're not going to affect anything negatively in your motor or your fueling or anything like that. It's much more affordable. I believe the Sport is, you're looking at around $500 out the door, and that's it. You don't have to get heat shield services done. You can just have the muffler modified, install it, and you get a nice rumble. Now moving on to like the Sport Plus, you get power increase. similar power increase actually to what the big brands are saying you'll get. Pretty much every exhaust system out there right now is going to get you between 1 to 2 horsepower. Unless you start adding other race parts like velocity stacks and racing fuel with a higher octane rating, then you're going to be able to maybe pull more power out of the motor. But for those of us who are street riding, doing track days, and you're not going to want to run race fuel and other modifications, you're looking at about 1 to 2 horsepower with pretty much any exhaust system out there. Maybe there's 1 or 2 exceptions, but it's pretty standard, right? So by going with this option, you're getting the gains performance with no maps on the Sport Plus for a much more affordable price. And then if you decide to get the Upmap, you're still not looking at the total you would see if you went with a more expensive exhaust system setup. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with buying an SE project or going that route. They're awesome, I love them. But this was just a solution for the intention or problem that I saw as far as keeping the aesthetics and the original design of the bike. Right? A lot of us can agree that the original exhaust setup on this bike is beautiful and it looks great, fits it perfectly. And the need to keep it looking the same was needed out there because we didn't want that gap. So that was the whole purpose of this, and those are the benefits, right? You save some money, you still get power increase with the Sport Plus, and if we do release the race exhaust version later, you'll see the benefits out of that too. So anyways, that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to talk about with you guys. If you guys do have any more questions, please feel free to email me at josh@motoboxusa.com. You can also email the sales team, sales@radiance.com. And there's also a phone number on the website that you can call. Motoboxusa.com is the website if you guys want to go on there and look at more information. Now, I am the designer. I don't deal with sales. I don't deal with orders or anything like that, but I can help with some of this exhaust, some of the exhaust questions. So feel free to reach out with any of that. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys all for watching. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact us. And yeah, you guys stay tuned for more updates. We will be releasing more updates as soon as we can. All right, guys.